Hi, I'm Aradhana Aggarwal. I am a CPA and my goal is simple: to help everyday people understand taxes without fear, confusion, or jargon. Ever opened a letter from the IRS, read the amount you owe, and immediately started checking if it's too late to move offshore? You're not alone. Today we are talking about something that sounds scary but is actually extremely manageable: payment plans with the IRS. If you owe back taxes, don't panic. You actually have options, and the IRS surprisingly can be very reasonable. Well, as reasonable as a government agency that loves paperwork can be. Here is the truth: ignoring the IRS never ends well. Interest piles up, penalties grow faster than weeds after a thunderstorm, and eventually the IRS gets your attention. But when you face it early, the IRS often gives you flexible repayment options. If you owe less than $50,000 and have filed all your returns, getting a payment plan is generally straightforward. You don't need to sell your assets, you just need a plan, literally. There are two main types of payment plans. I like to call them short-term stress relief and long-term peace of mind. Short-term payment plan, 120 days or less. If you can pay your balance in full within about 4 months, that is your best friend. No setup fee. That's right, free entry. You will still owe interest and late payment penalties, but it's better than an immediate lump sum panic payment. Long-term payment plan, installment agreement. For balances you can't pay off in 4 months, the IRS lets you spread payments out, often up to 72 months. That's like 6 years. Available for balances under $50,000. If you owe more, it just takes a bit more paperwork and explanation. The IRS actually calls it an installment agreement. I call it the IRS just became my credit card without the reward points. Applying for a payment plan is easier than most people think, and you can do it faster than ordering dinner online. File all your required tax returns. The IRS needs to know your total balance before you can negotiate. Go to www.irs.gov/payment plans. You will need your social security number or ITIN, your filing status, and your mailing address from your last tax return. Choose your payment plan. If you owe under $50,000, you can apply online instantly. If you owe between $50,000 and $250,000, you will need to request through the form 9465 installment agreement request. If you owe more, call the IRS directly. Now let's talk about the money part. The IRS loves that topic. For long-term installment agreements, there are setup fees, but they are not really crazy. $31 if you apply online and use debit card. That is the cheapest and easiest. $107 if you apply by phone, mail, or in person using direct debit. $130 if you want to pay monthly through checks or card payments. Sign up for direct debit. It reduces your chances of missing a payment, and it makes you look responsible to the IRS, which helps if you ever need future leniency. Accepted payment methods include direct debit from your bank, payroll deduction, automatic from your paycheck, online payment via debit or credit card, but there is a card processing fee. Important: once you are in a plan, the IRS expects consistency. If you skip payments, they can cancel the agreement. While you are on a payment plan, here is what's happening behind the scenes. Penalties and interest keep adding up until the balance is fully paid. That's why it's smart to pay extra whenever possible. The IRS typically won't enforce collections, meaning no garnishments or levies as long as you are current on payments. If your financial situation changes, you can request modifications because life happens and the IRS actually understands that. Now, if your situation is truly tough, don't lose hope. There are still options. Partial payment installment agreements. If you genuinely can't pay it all, the IRS may accept smaller monthly payments that don't cover the full balance, as long as you provide full financial disclosure. Currently, note collectible status. If paying even a small amount would cause serious hardship, like missing rent or insulin, you can request the IRS IRS to temporarily pause collections. Offer in compromise. This is the IRS's version of a peace treaty. You settle your tax debt for less than you owe, but it's tricky and you will need to prove financial hardship. And no, you cannot tell them your hardship is buying too much Starbucks. The IRS knows what real hardship looks like. Here is the serious truth. The IRS is actually far more flexible when you communicate early. If you reach out, cooperate, and propose a realistic payment plan, they will often accept it. But if you ignore them, they'll make the decisions for you. And trust me, they are not in the business of generosity. So if you owe money to the IRS, breathe and take action. And remember, hiding from your IRS bill doesn't make it disappear. Thanks for watching. See you next time. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more tax tips that are legal, practical, and intentional.